Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts from SteelersDepot.com, where you can find all your latest and greatest Steelers news. It's Dave Bryan and Alex Kozora, always lit, talking Steelers. And now, here's Dave and Alex.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast, another special edition of the Terrible Podcast, Pittsburgh Steelers Training Camp 2019. I'm Dave Bryan from Steelers Depot. It is Wednesday, August the 14th, 5:45 out here in Las Vegas, and that means it is 8:45 where my partner in crime, co-host Alex Kozora, is fresh off of another trip to Latrobe. Alex, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Dave. A lot more to talk about today than yesterday. Team back in pads. Obviously, heavy hearts still remain in the loss of Darryl Drake, but I think yesterday was that day where no one really had to focus on football. Today it felt like spirits a little bit higher. Back in pads probably helped, and a lot more action to talk about.
Yeah, and maybe that half day yesterday was good for the team. Nobody got hurt from what we can see, and just kind of a dreary day all the way around. But regardless, they were back, and if anybody missed it, boy, Alejandro Villanueva, what can you say? What can you say about that guy, man? Superhuman. He met the media today, and I think it was about a 7 or 8 minute session. Of course, I think it's up on Steelers.com as well too. Really did a good job of how he handled the media and the questions, and how the team is dealing with all this as well too. So people listening to this, you get a chance, make sure you check that out. And I have most of what he had to say transcribed and up in an article up on SteelersDepot.com as well. So with that, we'll move forward as well. Injury wise, we'll start off with a little bit of housekeeping here. Derek Thomas, the cornerback that he was only on the roster a couple of days there, was waived injured, reverted back to injured reserve. He was waived today with an injury settlement, so that's probably not obviously huge news, but that was a transaction that took place. As far as the other things went, and injuries and whatnot, people that didn't practice, here's the list of players that I come up with. Alex, as always, you can add to this if I missed anything. Marquise Pouncey with a back. I have a question mark next to that because I'm not sure that the Steelers have even confirmed yet that it is a back injury. I think that's the speculation there. David DeCastro, I just have soreness next to him because that's all Mike Tomlin, I think, has said about him so far. Cornerback Joe Hayden, is it a foot? Is it an ankle? Is it a cankle? I don't know. It's one of the two, but he was out there evidently stretching. He just obviously didn't practice. It's probably going to be, they're probably taking, as we said yesterday, being real cautious with him. Inside linebacker Vince Williams with a hamstring. You noted today that it looks like he's mighty close to being able to get back on the practice field. And Mike Tomlin said as much during his post-practice press conference on Wednesday. Tight end Christian Scotland Williamson, soft tissue, still on the sideline. He injured himself during the Friday night game, so we'll have to wait and see when he's able to get back on the field. A couple of new names, unfortunately, and rookie draft picks at that. Devin Bush, undisclosed, and tight end Zach Gentry, undisclosed. And Tomlin said a couple of young guys got evaluated today. We'll get the results of that and give you further information. Guys like Devin Bush and Zach Gentry were evaluated. We'll have further information on some of those tomorrow. Sutton Smith, I don't believe he practiced, undisclosed. You seem to think maybe it's a left hip or something around the midsection there. Tomlin would only indicate that he's falling behind because of the time that he's missed. Backup center B.J. Finney also left Wednesday's practice early, and Tomlin was asked to give an update about his status after practice ended, and he said he was taken off and is being evaluated for heat-related like symptoms. Tomlin went on to say, August football-like things. Alex, do you have any August football-like things, and did I miss anything?
No, I've been all good. I was in the shade, they're in the sun, so it's a lot tougher for them also. They're playing football, and I'm watching them play football, so easier for me the whole way around. I think Gentry some sort of chest. He had a big wrap around that at the end of practice today. Scotty's got a left hamstring. Vince, like you said, is going to be really close to return. I think Sutton was in individuals. He was yesterday, and he worked individual. I'm pretty sure today he had his shoulder pads off before 7 shots, but obviously he is missing valuable reps in team. Joe Hayden, I think, will be back for the 3rd preseason game. That's kind of how that seems to be going right now. And Zach Banner battled the Heat, and the Heat won by day's end for him. He didn't finish out practice, but he gave it his best shot.
Did he lose some lunch?
I think he got sick. I didn't see for sure. I was watching one rep of 7-on-7s, and they were doing O-line, D-line, and I see the whole offensive lineman, defensive lineman move about 10 yards away. Then I saw Banner with trainers away from the group. So he might have gotten sick, but he's played a lot of snaps. He's obviously a big dude, and he was in and out of the lineup. But he worked hard to try to finish. So I'll give him props for that.
And if I remember correctly, Tomlin said something about him switching sides again today. Did that happen today again? Did he go over to the left side again?
Yep, he's playing some left tackle, so getting him some versatility.
All right, I think we have, and this was the final day. They were in pads day, and Tomlin indicated after practice that that was the final padded practice of training camp. They obviously have one more training camp practice that will take place, and that's open to the public on Thursday. Prior to that, Mike Tomlin's scheduled to meet the media and hold his press conference Thursday morning. I believe 11:30 a.m. Eastern time is the scheduled time, and we hope he follows up on his promise and lets us know about Devin Bush. Any idea what Devin Bush might be dealing with?
No, nothing visible. He looked fine out there, just walking around, carrying a bottle of water. Nothing, no wrap, nothing that would indicate an injury. So it looks minor, but I really couldn't tell you.
Does David DeCastro have a wrap on anything?
Nope, no wrap. Just he came in late. He came in at like 3:30 today, but he looks fine. I imagine they're just going to be really smart and monitor his reps.
All right. I think that handles all the housekeeping there. So I guess we'll start as we normally do after there's a full practice. Go position group by position group. Patrick Morris got him some first team reps at center today with Marquise Pouncey sideline and Finney having to leave early. Tell us a little bit about how that went and how anything else you noticed with the offensive line.
Well, yeah, how about Morris going from 3rd-team center to 1st-team center pretty quickly with Pouncey out and then Finney leaving early, left before. I think he left after 7 shots is when Finney bowed out. But, yeah, I thought he had a good game against Tampa Bay. Talking about Patrick Morris, he did have one, I think, low snap to Ben today that ruined the play. Maybe that was on Ben. It was low. I don't think Ben got a good handle on it. I think Derwin Gray's past J.C. Hassenauer was 2nd-team right guard, or at least that's how they're looking at Gray right now, which is good. I think, I was kind of bummed Gray only got 6 snaps against the Bucs. I want to get a good long look at him. He's a bigger guy. He's got great play strength. Just a really impossible guy to get around. And Hassenauer, who I don't know is completely healthy, I think gets overpowered too easily, isn't a good athlete, and gets too grabby with his hand use. And then Fred Johnson, the other guy I want to note today. We talked a lot about Fred Johnson, but I continue to get this Matt Filer feel. This guy lined up, Johnson did, at right tackle today for the final team session because Banner couldn't finish it out. So Johnson has now played right guard, left tackle, and right tackle in training camp. And he's definitely a better guard than tackle, but just having that versatility and then liking him enough to move him around and try new things probably means he's doing well at guard if they trust him to go play some tackle. So hats off to Fred Johnson. That versatility is key to make the team on the back end along the offensive line.
At 6'12", I doubt he's going to get any work at center, right?
Yeah. Hey, they played Filer at center, but no, I can't see Fred Johnson ever playing at guard. Center.
With Derwin Gray, is he for sure a guard now? I mean, how much work has he gotten, if any, at tackle?
0. He's a guard. For better or for worse.
Okay, I thought as much after he was drafted.
And that's what they said. I still think he's got some traits to make him attractive at tackle, but they clearly like him inside.
And Brumfield.
Still been 3rd-team left guard. He's got nasty, he's got finish. I like the fight in the Tampa game, trying to maximize his 6 snaps, but it's just he's on the ground a lot. He's another guy that gets overpowered. I like the dude. He's a peacemaker on the field. Anytime there's a fight at training camp, he's the first one to break it up. He's the ball boy for the Pouncey Roethlisberger field goal crossbar challenge. He's the quarterback and O-line, D-line. He does a lot of things. I wish he did guard a little bit better, though.
All right. What about the other Maryland kid?
Prince.
pretty quiet, 13 left tackle. I'm not seeing a whole lot there. He's got some size. I still don't know why they decided to play him at left tackle when he didn't play it at Maryland. Not a lot of reps. I mean, not a whole lot to note, but I haven't seen anything that would suggest giving him more playtime.
All right, so if Finney hopefully will be good to go by Saturday night, so it'll probably be Finney and then followed by Morris then.
Yep, that's how I expect. Yeah, Finney should be. Finney could be back tomorrow. He'll definitely play against KC. It's because it's KC, and that's what he always does. He always plays against the Chiefs.
And yeah, and he always
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he always plays well too.
Right,
No, I'm afraid
exactly.
that's a good note. I forgot all about that. Yeah, he'll play out of this world. He'll play out of his mind. Finney will. At least we hope he will. And one other note I forgot to add about Marquise Pouncey. Mike Tomlin said he expects to see him back out on the field in some capacity on Thursday. Obviously still we don't expect him to play Saturday night. But
he was on the field today, which was a change from the last couple of days. He moved around fine, so he's going to be all right.
All right, good. Let's go to the quarterback position. Still the same pecking order.
Yeah, I mean, they rotate guys so much because everything is so unsettled. It's even hard to even call a pecking order. I mean, obviously, Ben's the 1, Hodges is the 4, but they mix and match so much. I don't have a whole lot to note with that group today other than a 2-minute drill where the defense, hats off for the defense, stalled Ben and Dobbs. Neither of those offenses got past the defense's 45-yard line. So both quarterbacks not able to get it done in 2 minutes. More of the same from the group. I think it's a talented group overall, a group that's pushing each other. But I don't have any particular note about the quarterbacks today.
You would be surprised if we've talked several times. We think it's going to be Rudolph followed by Dobbs. Obviously, maybe we'll find out more, or we should find out more on Thursday. Would you be surprised if that's not the way it goes?
I would be surprised. I really expect Rudolph to, because they flipped these guys so much. Let's have, Dobbs got to work as the starter, and now let's have Dobbs come in off the bench, see how he reacts to that. Although we obviously kind of know how he reacts to that, but let's see how Rudolph works as a starter. Did Rudolph start a game last preseason? Do you know?
Seemed like I remember him starting one.
Probably, because Landry wasn't playing and Ben wasn't playing. But I'll have to check that, because if not, then that'll be Rudolph's first chance to start. Though I think you're right. I think he had at least one start last season.
Because Dobbs started the finale. It seemed like didn't he start against Green Bay or no?
I think it was. Well, he threw the pick six. That was
Rudolph
the first
started.
snap, yeah.
Rudolph started against Green Bay that second preseason
and that's
game
how
last
that
year.
started. All right, fair point. Good memory there. But yeah, we'll see how Rudolph responds second year, just starting that game. So I think putting those guys in those different situations, seeing how they respond to it, I think there's some valuable information to learn from each of those guys.
And how many reps did Duck Dodgers in the 25th century get today?
I'd have to look. Not as much, because, as you said the other day, it being a full day for Ben, there isn't a whole lot there for Hodges. He may have thrown 5 passes today, if that. They were kind of shortened overall. Instead of going 15 plays for each team session, they were going 12. I think that's just kind of typical for the end of camp. But yeah, not a lot of work for Hodges today.
Okay, running back in pads today.
Yeah, back in pads, but no tackling session for that second team drill right after 7 shots, so I don't have a whole lot to note. It felt like Malik Williams was getting more carries today. I didn't see a whole lot of Trayvon McMillan. I was disappointed Williams didn't get any work, no snaps at all, offense or special teams in Friday's game, so hopefully he's a guy that will get to see the field against Kansas City. Benny Snell had a touchdown. They didn't throw to those guys a lot. Still seeing some pony with Samuels and Connor. One play, an empty set, where Samuels and Connor were on the field, both split out. So after camp's over, I'm going to go through and just tally the number of times I saw that pony backfield, just to put a number to it. I'm guessing it's going to be around 20 or 25 snaps in training camp.
For all of training camp?
All of training camp, yes.
Okay. And how many total snaps would you guess that you don't count 7 shots, right?
I count them as plays. I mean, I don't know exactly what you're asking.
Well, you're talking about the pony. Has that pony been part of team?
Oh yeah, these are. When I say pony, this is for team only. This isn't anything else. This
okay,
is
that's what I'm asking. Is that's the team only portion?
Yeah. Are you asking me how many plays in total they might run in practice during the camp?
Yeah.
They probably run about 70 a day, so it's 70 times. They'll have 14 practices this year. That's 980 plays, so let's do 25, I'm assuming. The 25
some math!
Yeah, real quick here. That'd be about 2.5%, if it is 25, which I don't know what the number is. That's my guesstimate, and I don't know the total number of snaps either. But somewhere between 2 and 5%, I would say, training camp snaps were with Connor and Samuels both on the field.
All right, great information there. I appreciate that. Tight end. The lines are short.
Yeah, I was bummed that Gentry and Scotty couldn't go today. Gentry's played well, though. Even that shortened practice yesterday, he had that nice catch at the very end of practice down the seam that I should have mentioned. Vance McDonald, I should have said this too for yesterday's practice, had a touchdown rush in 7 shots. They gave him the ball, so they're just trying in all kinds of crazy ways to get the ball in his hands. McDonald had a good practice today, beat Gilbert down the seam for a big 17-yard completion. I believe that was in the 2-minute session. But, yeah, pretty short lines. Kevin Rader, Trevor Wood. Neither of those guys are going to make it, and Tomlin like Grimble on the blocking sled. So his blocking's really come a long way the last 2-3 years.
You know, we haven't talked a lot about Grimble. We talked about him, but not more in depth. Probably not as in depth as probably some, a lot. Put it this way, probably a lot of people listening to this podcast are not just huge fans of Grimble. I think a lot of that goes back to that unfortunate fumble last year. He's become the Fitzgerald Toussaint.
I was just going to say that you have the scapegoat
of the Steelers. And funny how both those fumbles happen against Denver too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. Not funny, I should say.
Let's not play Denver. No more.
Yeah,
play the Broncos.
But I mean, overall, do you get to feel that he's had a nice camp?
It's been all right. I mean, the one thing, you're right, we don't talk about Grimble a lot, especially the guys that we want to talk about, big seasons for them. We don't probably mention Grimble too much, but there's been some really quiet days for him. I think he has shown more consistency. He's been available for every practice. I know he kind of left, didn't finish out the one, but was there for the next day. So his blocking's improved a lot, and he's caught a lot of touchdowns. I think almost 50% of his receptions in camp have been in the end zone, especially in 7 shots. He's gotten a lot of work there, so take that for whatever it's worth. Probably not worth a whole lot. But yeah, I mean, it's been fine. It has not been spectacular, but he's clearly entrenched as a number 2 tight end. There's no doubt about that.
Right. I mean, I know people are saying, is there any way they could go out and, get a tight end? Look, if they get a tight end, it's probably going to be a number 3 tight end. But even so, I was like, I'm meaning to write about this. I don't want to run too far down this rabbit hole. Whatever the Steelers are in the mood for when it comes to tight end, the Patriots are going to be in that same mood.
Well, they just traded for one, didn't they?
Yeah,
from Atlanta, Eric Saubert.
Yeah, but I mean that they just needed somebody for the lines.
I guess, but I don't know who else. I mean, they traded away. They're probably regretting trading Jacob Hollister. That was a pretty good asset they gave away.
But I guess, look, they got Ben Watson. They're going to be without him at the start of the season. A couple of the other 2 tight ends at the top of the depth chart are dealing with injuries, and Lance Kendricks, who's like 31 or something, is dealing with something as well too. I mean, they are hurting. So, I would not, mark this down. You don't be surprised. I mean, set your sights a little bit lower because whatever's out there, obviously the Steelers will should have the waiver wire, I think, claim order ahead of them. So they, and another thing is if you waive Gentry, I'm not saying that Gentry's all that or anything, but if you waive Gentry, that might be one guy that does not clear waivers.
You're putting the tinfoil hat on. Maybe. Depends how the rest of the preseason goes. I'd be surprised if he was claimed, though, unless the rest of the preseason's stellar.
I mean, he didn't have that bad of a game the other. I mean, it wasn't would not stop the presses, but I mean, he was a little bit better in the 5 or 6 blocking assignments that he had, and he did.
No, it was good. He's played better, but I think someone in our comment section said like only 44 guys got claimed last year, which sounds like a lot, but when you think about the sheer number of players that just get cut, thousands. I don't know. He'd have to play a whole lot better for me to think about that seriously when we get down the cut down.
But I guess the moral of the story here is Grimble safe, and unless they find them something they like here in the next couple of weeks, Gentry is as well.
And unless Scotland Williamson, we'll probably talk about it more for Friday's show. But I did, just to be a little different, I'll admit. But I put Scotty on my 53 over Gentry just because of the blocking element. But obviously, if Scotland Williamson can't play this Saturday, right? So yeah, Saturday's game, then I'm probably taking him off for that, and I'm guessing he's not going to be ready for Saturday's game.
Mike Tomlin will leave the light on for him, though.
No, he'll leave the light on for anybody, but just he's starting to get back into work. He's doing the tracing the field and kind of walk around, but that usually means you're probably about a week out once you start that stuff. Like Vince Williams did that last week, and he's still not the whole way back. So it's hard to envision Scotland Williamson being ready for Saturday. We'll see. I mean, who knows? But I'm guessing you won't see him till the 3rd game. And then, of course, playing time will be more limited because all the starters are coming in.
All right, I saved this position group for last on purpose because I have a feeling you're going to have a lot to tell us today. How about the wide receivers?
Yeah, a couple notes here. I want to start with Dante Moncrief, and I love your phrase. Is this something that a player said? Where did Ben Ball come from? Is that a Dave Bryanism, or is that something someone said?
I've always kind of called. I don't know. I don't remember hearing it somewhere, but I might have picked it up on the internet. But I've always called it Ben Ball.
Well, it's one of my favorite phrases. And Dante Moncrief learned how to play Ben Ball today. There was a scramble drill, ball's on the opposing 20. Ben starts left, comes back right. He's pointing the Moncrief back at the end zone. Moncrief able to read it, and they connect for a 20-yard touchdown. So you're just seeing some of that chemistry building because it's important. Moncrief hasn't practiced a whole lot in camp because of that finger injury. Ben missed some practices too, was out for 3 straight days. So they haven't gotten to really work a whole lot in teams. So some valuable reps there, and I think that chemistry can be a little overstated, but I think it's also coming together pretty nicely between those two.
And that, make no mistake about it, Antonio Brown provided a lot of catches playing Ben Ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to play Ben Ball to play receiver. I mean, or tight end, or running back, any position that's a target. You got to learn how to stay in a scramble drill.
Now, I don't remember going back all the tape that I watched on Moncrief since he was signed. I don't remember him doing that a lot.
I mentioned there wasn't a lot of Ben Ball with Jacoby Brissett and Blaine Gabbert or, who's Cody Kessler, who even played for Jacksonville last year, Chad Henne. I can't even think of the names, but they were not good quarterbacks. They were extending the play very much. So this is probably pretty new to him.
But, he's over that finger injury now, right? And it seems to be great timing. And, look, we've said this almost right from the get-go. Everybody's saying, Deontay Johnson going to be, starting with Juju, and other people are saying, well, after this game, James Washington going to we've said all along, we think, especially in 2 wide receiver sets, we think it's going to be Moncrief and Juju.
Yep, those are the top 2 receivers. And then Washington, they'll play a lot of, obviously, 11 personnel, 3 receiver sets. I think Washington will be the 3rd guy on the field. But, it's Moncrief and Juju. Anyone who tells you otherwise probably isn't watching Steelers camp.
PFF.
Yeah. I like Deontay Johnson. He's got a bright future, but this year they got to take a step back.
Speaking of Johnson, he had a nice day, right?
Yeah, 2 touchdowns and 7 shots. I just want to see him win vertical. I'm trying to think what's the farthest depth of target on a reception, to steal one of your words here, that he's had all camp. And it's probably been 10 or 15 yards, maybe at most. Like, he hasn't provided that vertical element that you're going to have as that X receiver because you're singled up and you are going to have to run some vertical routes. They're going to play inside leverage. You're going to probably run either a comeback or a straight go ball. So I want to see him make plays down the field. But I'm just happy he's in team. The injuries he's dealt with are relatively minor because he has missed some time and obviously missed Friday's game. So hopefully, and he should be able to play Saturday and get his first NFL reps inside a stadium.
I like when you talk to me in depth of target.
Those 3 little words that Ryan wants to hear: depth of target.
I think it's such a. I think some of these new, me and these stats and these advanced metrics now, man. I'm all over that stuff. I think that's a big thing to kind of target on. And look, this is something he was able to do that at times. At Toledo, obviously, get down the field and make, some contested down the field catches. Obviously, more as the X wide receiver, a lot of stuff in that 10 to 12 yard range, But yeah, it'd be interesting. Look, keep your fingers crossed. Let's get him on the field. Let's get him on the field Saturday night so we can take a much longer look at him. Do you expect? We keep talking about this. We don't expect Moncrief to see any time Saturday night, right?
Yeah, maybe I've come off of that a little bit. He may get a series or 2, but he's obviously not going to play a lot, and Juju shouldn't play at all.
All right, Washington following up his nice game with a nice couple of practices here.
Yeah, I think it's been fine. Nothing too high, nothing too low. The other note I have for a receiver is just kind of more a position thing, but I know we've kind of discussed the topic before, but they move guys around. Everyone has to kind of play everywhere in this Randy Fichtner-led offense. But Ryan Switzer getting some work on the outside today. Deontay Johnson even getting some work in the slot. So Switzer has played a little bit of X before, and that's probably something that in a pinch this team can do with him.
And I could have sworn I saw Holton play some X the other night.
Yeah, I think he's got a profile for an X. I know we think of an X receiver as a Deontay Johnson or Antonio Brown, a smaller guy, but there's bigger guys that play the X receiver. Deontay Moncrief's a bigger guy. DeAndre Hopkins is a bigger guy. Julio, I'm sure, he's played some X out in Atlanta. So, yeah, I mean, I think as long as you're a guy that can win vertical and have speed and be the X receiver that can beat press coverage and win one-on-one matchups, you can play the X receiver. So you don't have to be the 5'10", 190-pound guy. You can be a 6', 215-pound guy and still play the X spot. So Holton's a guy that can play either outside positions, I think.
The biggest thing there is you want to have some quick, ideally you want to have some quick twitch and be able to win and get some press.
Sure, yeah, you got to be able to beat press, you got to be able to win one-on-one, and yeah, creating separation is key. But some guys can create that with their size, the way that some of these bigger receivers do. So it's more about a skill set than a build to be that X receiver.
Oh, absolutely, and more with the Z being as how a lot of times they'll line up off the line of scrimmage because they're on the tight end side.
Right.
They have that little bit of extra win area.
Mm-hmm.
if you will there. Johnny Holton, what happened on that play, the deep ball with that Artie Burns was involved in? Did that go through his hands, or was that a clean breakup, or what happened there?
It was a little hard to tell. I wouldn't call it a clean breakup, but it felt like Burns got in the way enough to force the incompletion. Burns had really good coverage. Now, it may have slipped out of Holton's hand. I have it down as Burns' good coverage, being able to impact the throw enough to consider it a breakup, but it wasn't that Burns tipped it away out of the air. It was in Holton's hands somewhere around there. They were shielded. Their bodies were shielding my line of sight, so I couldn't get the best look at it. But I think the Burns had good coverage there. He did have good coverage.
And could that play into more of the fact that Holton had late being able to pick the ball up?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think, again, Burns had that really sticky coverage, so it may have kind of obstructed Holton's view, and that may have been what caused the incompletion. But I just have it down as Burns making a good play. I mean, Terrell Austin gave him a high five after, so I think Austin was pretty happy with Burns on that rep, and I was too.
All right, what else do you have for a wide receiver? Anything?
No, that's about it. Eli Rogers still running above Ryan Switzer, so take that for whatever it's worth. And that's about it. Tevin Jones, Trey Griffey, all pretty quiet today. Ditto with Brandon Riley, who I think had one catch, I want to say, but he's not going to make anything.
All right, let's flip over to the other side. Defensive line. Did I see you have a nugget on Bugs?
I did. I feel like I do every day with this guy. I know it's O-line, D-line, one-on-one, but he went upfield on Fred Johnson, O-line, D-line, one-on-one, and Johnson starts working upfield thinking he's going to try to rip through me or win the edge or something like that, and Bugs just hit the brakes and put this nasty inside spin move. Johnson goes flying upfield. He can't react and mirror to it, and Bugs wins the rep. D-line's hyped up. I mean, Bugs has some serious juice as a pass rusher, and I said this, maybe I'm being a little too
hyperbole
out there, a little bit of that, but just based on the traits alone, I think by this time next year, we're talking about Bugs being the main backup to Hayward and Tuitt. I think the traits are seriously there, and that may have Tyson Alulu being one of those offseason cuts. I'm not saying it will happen. I like Alulu. He's a valuable guy, leader, good run stuffer, but Bugs has that pass rush ability that Alulu simply does not have anymore.
All right. Anything else? What about Henry?
Got some work in nickel today. Didn't get a good look at him. Dan McCullers ran gases after practice, so Big Dan's putting in that work. And just to be clear on Bugs, I'm not saying for this year he's going to take away from Alulu, though I would like to see Bugs on the field or potentially see him on the field. I mean, I think there's a guy that you want to get some playtime this year to really have a good start into his sophomore year. But that's about it for the defensive line. Mondo, though, I think is a good shot to make the practice squad.
All right, let's go to outside linebacker. Bud Dupree back working kind of full. He pulled off to the side for a little bit today, or no?
Yeah, briefly after 7 shots. He was, I think, a lower body thing, but he finished out team. He should be fine. I don't have a whole lot to note with this group today. Dane had a couple nice reps. Skipper, was okay. JT Jones, I think, blocked a punt in special team session, so good for him because his defensive tape's been pretty quiet. But I just wanted to note about Sutton Smith and obviously the lack of reps for him. I think he's close, but he's still obviously not the whole way back. And every day that he misses, it's really going to start impacting him, especially when you consider somebody like Gilbert III, direct competition with Sutton Smith, really playing well and getting more chances today with the inside linebacker groups being pretty thin too.
Yeah, I think I jinxed him. Or we jinxed him.
Maybe.
We said right from the get-go, boy, this guy's going to probably end the preseason with the most total snaps and yada yada. He's gonna have to make a roster spot by playing on special teams, and He hadn't even seen the field, and hopefully, look, Mike Tomlin sent the message today. Some of these guys are running out of time, and the second preseason game, he's going to have to play and really be impactful, not only in that game, but probably the fourth one, because it's hard to imagine him getting much of any playing time in the third preseason game. So, man, this is a big week for several of those guys. Can a guy like Gilbert play in a second, more of a second team look and get some better quality and contribute on special teams to boot? We already talked about Johnny Holton, big week for him. Those kind of guys. So moving on from outside linebacker, let's talk about those inside linebackers.
Well, I just want to say really quickly, I'm not 100% sure Son Smith will be able to play against Kansas City. I think if I had to guess based on where he's at, but this guy's got to get in a team practice. He hasn't played in team in a while now, and he's at best going to get one more practice before their walkthrough for Friday, then the game Saturday. So he's going to be a really close call to I think, play. And if he doesn't play again Saturday, then wow, that's going to be tough. With the inside guys, I don't have a whole lot to note there either. Gilbert III got a lot more snaps today because the lines were thin with no Devin Bush, no Vince Williams. Tyler Mitakevich started next to Mark Barron. And speaking of Gilbert, I wanted to look up what you know how many snaps Gilbert played on Friday? I have the number, but you have a guess?
I thought it was like 30-something, but I will double check.
And I'm talking total. I'm talking special teams and
defense.
I have the number. You don't have to look it up. I'm just curious to see what your guess is.
48.
59. 59 for him. Yeah, 46 on defense. It wasn't the most of the whole team. I think Lane played close to 80. Actually, I think he played 80 exactly. Total snaps, 64 defense, 16 on special teams. But yeah, it's funny, you mentioned Son Smith being a high volume snap guy, and Gilbert is now a high volume snap guy. So we'll see how he carries that good performance in week 1 over to week 2.
Obviously, we don't want it to happen, but if Bush should not be able to go Saturday night, and I mean, even if it's hard to imagine Vince Williams playing Saturday, even though we'll probably get back to practice maybe tomorrow, hopefully, right? I mean, you're not.
Yeah, I wouldn't play.
No. So, Dirty Red and Gilbert going to start?
Or Barron, Dirty Red and Barron.
Or Barron, yeah, I forgot about Barron. Tomlin had an interesting comment about Barron today, saying something along the lines that he's almost mute-like.
That's a compliment.
Being he's just not that big of a vocal player, and the question was centered around how much are these younger players learning from having a guy like Barron out there, and that's how Tomlin said more than anything, if they're learning anything from Barron, it's from watching him.
So he's not going to be the signal caller this year, is what you're telling me. He's not going to wear
basically, I mean, that's basically what, in so many words, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about it some more. I know it said the other day, asked the question of, who are the inside linebackers going to be to start in week 1 at New England, and I said it was Vincent Bush. I'm thinking maybe the way this team's going to go, chewing on it some more, that, and I'm not the first to say this, and probably far from the last, but in their base defense, they're going to have Bush and Vince Williams. When they go sub-package, or nickel, I should say, they'll have Bush and Barron, and then when they go dime, it'll be just Devin Bush. I kind of feel like that's the way to get all 3 guys involved.
That's the way I felt right from the get-go.
Yeah. So I'm circling around to you.
With the good point on the game against the Chiefs, if Bush does not play, you're right. I think it will be. You probably want to get Barron another. What did he play? 20-something snaps the other
much?
Night?
I thought he had about 2 or 3 series. Let me try to find the number.
I wrote those up, and I've already forgotten them.
Let me actually search for Barron. 27 on defense.
I was close.
Yeah,
not bad. The old man still can remember. I can't tell you where one of my socks is right now, but
remember the important things, Dave. That's all that matters.
Yeah, my old man used to tell me the same thing. He said, "Boy, you can remember the box scores, but too bad you can't remember your math." I guess long story short, I mean, you probably want to get Barron and Matakevich, if those two end up being your starters, a good 15, a good lather, couple series, and then maybe you go Matakevich and Gilbert for another 20 snaps there.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense.
But I tell you that Robert Spillane, represented himself well, I thought, the other night, but just not going to be any room for him.
Practice squad. He's on my practice squad. Could end up there.
Yeah, definitely could there. Okay, we're running along, but we only got a couple of these left. Where do you want to go? Corner?
Yeah, good day for the corners. I like good day for the secondary and the defense as a whole. Brian Allen, interception, had another breakup. He's really good at the catch point. Still see some stiffness in his change of direction, but nice day for him. Justin Lane, good bounce back for him. I'm positive that you go into your first NFL game, it's against starters, you're facing Jameis Winston, you're facing NFL talent, and you jump back into practice. I'm sure practice slows way down. Like, that's just nothing to Justin Lane. So had a nice coverage to force an incompletion to James Washington on a 9-ball today. Good day for Lane overall. So I'm sure he's really, this is old hat to him, practice right at this point. So it's still raw, redshirt year practically for him year one. But, I think he's not bummed out and not feeling the hurt of that first preseason game too much. He's just jumping in and taking the next rep, next play, and doing a nice job.
You've read it. You've written it and tweeted. I was trying to say written and tweeted at the same time. You've written it and you've tweeted it a few times now. Cameron Sutton having a nice camp.
Yeah, I think it's best camp ever. I think Tomlin said he didn't say those exact words, but said, that Sutton's playing well and playing inside out and getting a long look at him. I'm curious. I'm guessing Artie Burns will be the top backup at both cornerback spots, but I wonder how that battle would go with him and Sutton. Obviously, Sutton's the top backup at nickel, but I wonder how the outside position might go.
Boy, they could use that kid stepping up in a big way.
He's probably going to play dime this year, especially with Marcus Allen trying to fight for a roster spot, let alone play time on defense. So, yeah, Sutton's should have an impact. And obviously, one injury, could certainly vault him into a much bigger role. Can
you hear him communicate out there?
If I do, I don't recognize his voice enough to know it, so I couldn't tell you if that was him or not. But he's a high IQ guy, as we've talked about before, knows his defense, frontwards and backwards. So I'm sure he's doing a lot of communication out there, especially playing slot. A lot of communication is going to come from that slot position.
And now, are you in the Artie Burns is a lock category?
Oh, a lock. A lock means 100%.
Yeah.
I'm going to be literal here. It'll be like 99%. So maybe not quite there, but he's going to make the team.
Okay. Mike Hilton. We haven't talked about Mike Hilton a lot.
I was just going to mention him. I think Hilton's having a really good camp. Looks healthy. Looks like old Mike Hilton. The last 13 weeks of 2018, he was injured. Mike Hilton didn't play like himself, but he's doing fine. He's definitely the starter as a slot, nickel corner. His timing on his blitzes, his run defense, being combative at catch points, just all excellent. So a really nice camp for Mike Hilton.
How about some safety? Welcome back, Sean Davis.
Welcome back, Sean Davis. And sorry, Marcus Allen. You're bumped to third team. Unfortunately, Marcus Allen's been running pretty low. You got Sean Davis, Terrell Edmonds as your first team, Jordan Dangerfield, Cameron Kelly as your second team, and then looks like Marcus Allen, PJ Locke as your third team. But Edmonds had a nice day, good breakup in 7 shots. Had a really good camp for him. Definitely excited about where Terrell Edmonds is at in his sophomore year.
Anything else? Got any special team nuggets for us?
Yeah, they did some punting today. Hopefully they do some kicking for tomorrow. Ian Berryman has a big leg, but that hang time, that placement, I track it. It's just not consistent enough. I think Barry's going to be able to win that spot just because of his placement and that hang time. It seems a lot better than Ian Berryman.
Punt returner lines.
The same old, Switzer, Eli, Deontay Johnson, Deontay Spencer, Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton had the punt return challenge, eight balls caught today, but he was tucking them inside his jersey. I think that's cheating. I don't know if I'm going to allow that or not, but I had a fun time there.
You have to go to the judges for that one for sure. There.
What's your ruling? What's Judge Dave?
As long as you don't put them on the ground.
Yeah. All right, I figured you'd say that.
The fact that he's got the thought process and the ambidextry to do all that, why not? Why not count it?
Fair enough.
Not that my opinion matters in that. All right, describe to us 7 shots.
I lost my diary. The offense won 5-2 today. The first play was a touchdown to. Once I get my notes pulled up, I will tell you who the touchdown from Ben was. The first play, Ben to Vance McDonald over Steven Nelson. The second play, Ben to touchdown to Juju. The third play was a nice breakup by Edmonds to come in and swat it away on a pass intended for Juju in the back of the end zone. Fourth one was a fun one, reverse to Juju. I don't know if it was a planned pass, but Juju threw it, and Mark Barron picked it off. That's 20 interceptions this defense has in camp, but I know that doesn't mean a whole lot. They had 20 last year, and look how that turned out. The next one, I think Rimbo caught it in the back of the end zone. I'll have to maybe check Steelers.com because it might have been out of bounds. Deontay Johnson then scored on plays 6 and 7. So offense won the day 5-2, and they're winning the camp battle 51-38.
All right. Anything else stick out to you today?
Let me check my notes really quick. I think that was obviously the bulk of it. Yeah, defense I thought had a really good day. I mean, you get those 2 stops in the no huddle situation. You get 3 interceptions on the day. Overall, good stuff for the defense.
All right. Well, obviously not a padded practice on Thursday, but you'll be out there. What are you kind of expecting in this last day? What have you generally observed during the last days?
I wasn't sure they're going to do padded practice or not, so that's news to me. I know that Tomlin did say that. I think maybe they did padded practice last year. I'll have to check. And there really won't be a whole lot to note. Obviously, when they don't go pads, there's no O-line, D-line. The one-on-one stuff's pretty light, generally speaking. It's a little harder to see injuries, so maybe you just got to look at some of these young guys and, get someone like a Gilbert III a lot extra snaps, maybe a Henry Mondo some more play time, maybe Deontay Spencer some extra snaps to see what they can do. But it sounds like tomorrow's going to be a pretty low-key practice.
All right, you'll be there, and we'll talk about it and wrap it up in the evening with the final special edition of the Terrible Podcast, training camp editions of 2019. You want us to encourage some people to send in some questions, Alex, to answer tomorrow night?
Yeah, go ahead, send some questions. We would camp wrap-up episode, and I encourage you to go to touringplans.com, our sponsor for the year, for training camp. Always a big friend of the site. So if you're planning a trip to Disney, check them out, touringplans.com.
And please get on there if you're on the Twitter machine and thank Lynn at Touring Plans for sponsoring us again. Just if you got time to reach out to him, that would certainly mean a lot to Alex and myself there. Okay. In the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at Steelers. Oh, Alex, by the way, fantastic job, brother. I mean, really, you paint great pictures for us as you have always done with this. So I just want to make sure give you a golf clap as well too in there. You can follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. Follow Alex on Twitter at Alex_Kozora. Follow the show at Terrible Podcast. Email the show. Get those last-minute training camp questions in for Alex and I to go over Thursday night there. The Terrible Podcast at gmail.com. Do you like what we do? Do you like what we've done? Do you like what we're about to do? If you feel so inclined to donate to the cause, please go to SteelersDepot.com. Hit the donate button, upper right navigational bar. And look, if you want a ad-free version of SteelersDepot.com, go to SteelersDepot.com and hit the ad-free button. And for $25 for 1 calendar year, you can have access to the site without any ads running on it. That's been very popular as well, too. Thank you for everybody that's been donating and subscribing and all like that throughout this off season as well too. That means a lot to Alex and myself as well. And until Thursday night, as always, thanks for listening to the Terrible Podcast with Dave and Alex.